Well, sad news for Kim Richards as cops had to show up at her house after a very concerning 911 call. We have Dorit, who's ready to move on with Kyle Richards, PK, who's not happy with Dorit blasting his alcohol issues, and Kim Kardashian's under fire for this really weird Santa music video. I wasn't even going to talk about it, but now we're going to get into it. So let's go. You're listening to No Filter with Zack Peter, your go-to source for all the latest pop culture and reality TV tea, served fresh all week long. Now, let's dive in. Hi guys, welcome on in, welcome on in, welcome on in. Happy Thursday, happy Boxing Day. I just learned that today's Boxing Day. It used to be a day, I guess, where people would take gifts and donate them to those in need. I guess if you had extra, or I'm not entirely sure, but it's now turned into the day that people just go and buy more stuff. They go in and clock in on those clearance deals the day after Christmas. So yeah. Yeah. Hi guys, what's going on? Welcome on in. Welcome on in. Welcome on in. Happy Boxing Day. Happy Hanukkah. Happy. I hope you guys had a great Christmas today. Oh, yep. Joe is wishing everybody happy Kwanzaa. I saw Kamala Harris put out a video wishing everybody a happy Kwanzaa because she was, I guess she celebrated that growing up. So happy Kwanzaa to everyone who celebrates Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, Christmas, all the things. I celebrate naps. So today I hope I get to take a nap. I woke up and I went back to the gym this morning and I'm a little sleepy now. A little sleepy, a little tired. And I'm like, I need a little bit of a nap. Yeah, just long days, eating and up late and drinking and all the things, celebrating and being with the family. And so, yeah, it was a good. I've had a good Christmas thus far. I'm a little behind on Christmas though. I have everybody's gifts still here that have yet to be wrapped. So I'll probably be taking them to everybody this weekend. Because I was a little bit of a procrastinator, but it's okay. You who you who says happy naps. Yes, that's what we know. We want a good nap. Is everyone like, do you guys have this time off? Like, are you enjoying, or some of you are back at work? Um, yeah. Well, we have a lot to dive into. We'll see how long it takes to get into it. I do also want to touch back on Blake and Justin Baldoni. Do people care? That's what the real question, because I know the last couple of episodes were focused on Blake and Justin Baldoni, and then some people were like, "I just don't care." And that's kind of how I go back and forth. And I'm like, "Do I care or don't I care?" Like, we don't for me, it's still all way too early, right? Like, everything's super preliminary. We don't have any, we don't know what's real and what's not real and what's fact and what's fiction, and we don't have any real evidence that's been submitted other than these text messages. And the text messages, I feel like, don't tell a full picture. Like, they do feel like isolated messages that don't give us the full context, right? And so I think too many times in the past few years we've immediately jumped with the narrative, right? We did it with Jesse Smollett when he tried to use the media to, craft his narrative. We did it with Amber Heard when she wrote the op-ed about Johnny Depp. And so, and then later on we realized, like, oh, there was more to those stories that we didn't know, that we didn't wait to find out, and unfortunately, I think too many people have tried to manipulate the media into selling us a narrative. And I feel like I catch on to the narratives, right? I've been in this world long enough that I can see through it. And I just feel like this, not that I don't believe Blake Lively, and not that I don't believe that there was any misconduct that was done on the set, and not that I think that Justin Baldoni is a great guy at all. That is not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is this feels very orchestrated. If you really look at it and you really pay attention to it, again, that's not to negate anything that Blake Lively may have experienced on set. We have to wait for the evidence and further details to come forward. However, I don't believe that Justin Baldoni's team was successful in a PR takedown campaign against Blake Lively. I think they were prepared to do that, but ultimately, like I said in the last couple of episodes, I think the ultimate takedown of Blake Lively was the internet, pulling and exposing her own words and behaviors. That's not to say that that's excusable for any misconduct she may have experienced on set. Not at all. If anything, we're seeing that Justin Baldoni is a lot more disingenuous than we believed him to be. both things could be true, right? Blake Lively could be very difficult to work with, and has a reputation of that. And Justin Baldoni may be a complete fake woke, fake feminist. Um, both of those things can be true. I don't really have skin in this game. I don't really care for either of them, from what I've learned of both of them. But if anything, it does feel like this is an orchestrated takedown of Justin Baldoni, more than there was an orchestrated takedown of Blake Lively. Just based off of everything that I discussed in the last episode where we recapped all of this, just the way that things played out. I think, like I said, I think the internet took her down and they used her own words against her and her own behavior against her, and um, that wasn't done by Justin Baldoni's crisis management team. That was done by the internet sleuths. Um, and yes, I did read the full 80-page complaint, which is not, yeah, and people keep saying that it's a lawsuit, and then people in the comments are getting mad, like, it's not a lawsuit, it's not a lawsuit. I'm like, well, it's like the first formal step of a lawsuit. Like, that's why all of the press and media are calling it a lawsuit. It's a legal complaint, which people are assuming the next step of that will be the lawsuit that comes forth as a result of that. For me, it's just, why bring up the conduct now if the conduct was eventually addressed on set and didn't move on after that January 4th meeting? So if we had the meeting, we were all on the same page and the conduct did not continue, what is the point in suing now? They're saying that they're suing now because of this orchestrated attack. But if you look at it, you really kind of just objectively take a step back and look at this. We remember the reporter that exposed Blake, and then all the people that started resurfacing old clips, and other interviewers that came forth and started sharing their footage of their full interviews with Blake Lively from, the past as well. And that's kind of where, and it was like Blake talking about how, let's promote the movie and let's all wear florals and grab your girlfriends, and then she was promoting her hair care line and she's promoting her alcohol line. So it just looked like she wasn't taking the movie that seriously when she's promoting her own products at the same time. Her team is trying to argue that, like, well, we had already planned those launches ahead of time, we didn't know that this was going to all intersect, which I feel like Amber Heard tried to make that same argument of, like, oh, the op-ed that I wrote about Johnny Depp just happened to come out, or, in conjunction with Aquaman. And it's like, well, is that like okay, sure, but, like, also, I don't know, I just think there was a tone deafness that Blake does tend to have, that I think the internet just really honed in on. Um and then when it comes to this takedown of Baldoni, this seems a little more orchestrated for a few different reasons. One, we have Justin Baldoni. We have this lawsuit that comes, and it comes right before Christmas. And usually, Christmas, when the rest of the world shuts down, there's not going to be a big scandal that's going to be breaking this week or next week. So that is going to be the scandal. That is going to be what everybody's going to be talking about. That is going to be the topic of conversation for a lot of families at the dinner table. When there is a celebrity scandal, people talk about it. You get drunk and be like, "What do you think of Blake Lively? She's this, he's that." Da, 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 da. Like, that's just it becomes a natural talking point at the dinner table for a lot of families. Pop culture is just something we all consume and talk about. And when nothing else is happening at this time of the year, because everything sort of dies down at this time of the year, then the news cycle does become dominated with that. That feels a little orchestrated. Then we have this getting tipped off immediately to the New York Times. What's special about the New York Times? Oh yeah, we remember that was the Harvey Weinstein story, right? With Ronan Farrow and Rose McGowan. Interesting that we picked the New York Times. And not only does the New York Times have access to this 80-page complaint, right? Because the New York Times isn't working, that hard the week of Christmas and New Year's, because again, nothing really happens at this time of the year unless there's like a DUI or something. But so, sorry, I'll wrap up because I know we want to talk about the Kim Richards stuff. But my point being, the timing of it, the New York Times magically, is tipped off with this lawsuit, this legal complaint, sorry. And then they have all 80 pages that then they immediately make so easily accessible to the public, so that any, Joe, Dick, and Harry can go on the New York Times and download the PDF. That's the easiest PDF I've ever downloaded from the New York Times, right? Anytime I want to read an article from the New York Times, they make me subscribe to something. Like, it's never been this easy for anybody to just gain access to the 80-page lawsuit that anybody can read through and then feel smart because they read through the legal document, right? I'm somebody that works to get legal documents and then reads through them and, like, researches and has to look up terms and whatnot. This feels like they're making it too accessible for people, and it makes me wonder why. Then we get into the fact that they don't sue Jones Work, which is the PR firm that Jennifer Abel, Justin Baldoni's publicist, worked for. That's where this orchestrated PR takedown campaign allegedly began, right? Is with Jennifer Abel, and she worked at Jones Work. Jones Work isn't named in this complaint. Jones Work seems to be working with Blake Lively's team. Also seems a bit convenient because then Jones Work decides to file their own lawsuit, which also gets tipped off to the New York Times. And that's also downloadable on the New York Times as well, making it easily accessible for people to access it and read it. And like I've said, if they both drop their lawsuits, if Jones, because Jones Work wants to sue Jennifer Abel because they say she went rogue. She stole Justin Baldoni from their company, and they had no idea about this orchestrated takedown of Blake Lively. They had no clue. Jennifer Abel just was some rogue publicist that was, spearheading this all on her own to get back at Blake Lively. And that's why Jones Work is like, we're not working with her anymore, and now we're suing her. And conveniently, they were the ones that had access to her text messages and her emails that ended up in the legal complaints and that ended up getting tipped off to the press. So I'm just like, again, feels a little orchestrated, because again, if they drop their lawsuits tomorrow, let's be very clear. The damage is done. You already think Jennifer Abel is some rogue publicist that, wants to burn Blake Lively and she's got an agenda. And not only that, but then you also see Justin Baldoni. You already have your mind made up about him. Like his reputation's already taken the hit. Same way with when Amber Heard wrote the op-ed, Johnny Depp's reputation took that hit and Disney dropped him. The damage was already done until Johnny Depp decided, no, I'm not going to settle for this. I'm going to go in court and I'm going to sue for defamation. He ultimately ended up winning. So it feels very, when you see these PR tricks and you see these games and you see all the smoke and mirrors and you understand how this world works, how Hollywood is spun and how the media is spun and how, it's all, and the media, like people think that the media is only bought by politicians and by um you know the president or the White House or whatever. They think like, oh, it's only political figures. No, it's our big businesses, right? Because they funnel lots of money into the media. No, it's also celebrities. Like they hold so much power over media a lot of times. And it's just, again, it's interesting. We picked the New York Times, Ronan Farrow, Rose McGowan, Harvey Weinstein, kind of reminiscent, right? So just a lot of these little things that I don't think people pick up on unless you have caught on to these PR spins in the past. So it's just crazy, crazy, crazy. Um, okay. Let's talk about Kim Richards because I know a lot of you are wondering what's going on with her. We found out back in September that she was put on a 5150 psych hold because she was, I believe it was at the Beverly Hilton. She was, or wait, well, she was arrested at the Beverly, something. She always has trouble at the Beverly Hilton or the Beverly Hills Hotel. But she was taken in because cops found her to be a little erratic and they thought she may have been a danger to herself or others. So they put her on a psych ward hold. We found out that Kim was living in one of Kyle's houses because Kyle owns a couple of property or a few properties here in Los Angeles. And so Kim happened to be staying in one of Kyle's houses. And Kyle, I guess cops were getting calls from neighbors because they were concerned about Kim Richards and behavior that they were seeing or hearing. And they just had a lot of concerns about Kim being there. Cops called Kyle because Kyle owned the house. And Kyle's like, listen, I don't even want her there. I'm done with this. Like, I can't do it anymore. This is too much. She doesn't want to leave. And then the cops are like, well, if you want her to leave, then you have to actually formally evict her and you have to serve her with an eviction notice and you have to go to court and go before a judge. And so that's what I believe they're in the legal process of doing now. Kyle is in the legal process of having Kim evicted from her house, which is just crazy. So at this point, it appears Kim may be squatting. But the drama, the saga continues with Kim because over the weekend, I guess she called 911 and she was reporting that her cat had been stolen, that somebody came and stole her cat, her kitty cat. And I guess they stole the cat, but returned the cat. And so she's calling 911 to let them know that somebody stole her cat, but that they returned her cat. And then, according to TMZ, Kim just started rambling on about her issues with her sister, Kyle Richards, who's in the process of evicting her. So I don't know what the details of the call were or what she was talking about, Kyle. Possibly, I would assume it's in relation to the eviction and how, Kyle stole her goddamn house and now she's living in Kyle's house because she has nowhere else to go and blah, 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 and the cat and Kyle probably, it was a conspiracy to steal the cat. I don't know. That's my own conjecture. But whatever happened on this 911 call, they ended up cops ended up going over to check on Kim because they were concerned and alarmed with some of her behavior, and so they thought they needed to do a mental health evaluation and make sure that she's okay and not a danger to herself or to others, right? Kim Richards was like, she was probably on the phone and she was singing. She's like, "They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat. Eat the dog. Eat the cat." And she probably didn't want them to eat her cat. She's like, "Oh my God, I saw on the news that they're eating the dogs and eating the cats, and I don't want them to eat my cat. And somebody already stole my cat." So I don't know. It's not, not trying to poke fun at her necessarily, just bring a little levity to the situation because it is sad, right? We've watched Kim on our television screens for a very long time, and it's unfortunate. Jen says, "Who evicts their sister? It's not like she needs money." I think it's more of just like the burden, right? Like she clearly is not in a healthy mental state. We know that Kim has fallen off the wagon. She appears to be drinking and possibly even abusing other substances. So I think it's just at that point. I mean, if nobody's willing to take her in, because Kathy doesn't seem to be willing to take her in either, seems like Kyle was just trying to take care of her, and she just continues to not be in a healthy place and not, stay sober. And so I think it's kind of like that tough love situation of like, I can't do this anymore. I don't think Kyle's just like, "Oh, you're my sister and you're so annoying and I'm gonna evict you." Like I think it's just she's at her wit's end. Which I would imagine is not an easy thing for her to do, right? I think Kyle has always taken care of Kim, more so than we've ever really seen Kathy take care of Kim. When we go back to the limo fight between Kathy, or sorry, not Kathy, Kyle and Kim, Kim tells, before Kim yells at Kyle about, "You stole my goddamn house." Kyle was like, "My husband supports you like you're a second wife and you're an alcoholic." And I think they're tired of it. Um, so yeah, it's it's sad. Mary Duda says Kyle loves ratting. Kim is giving whatever happened to baby Jane. I haven't seen that movie in a while. Mary says Kyle wants us to know she takes care of her. I mean, whether she wants us to know, well, we didn't know that she was letting her live in her house. We didn't know what the heck was happening with Kim for a while. You know, it's not like Kyle came out with that information. That only came out because the cops got involved and TMZ found out about it. I'm sure Kyle does not want the stories of her evicting her sister out there right now. When Kim was on the show, she acted like she was on METH. I used to do that. It takes one to know one. Skinny, paranoid, tweaking, not acting like your normal self. I don't know. I mean, I've never done that. I don't think I know anybody that's ever done that. Um, so I don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised. It definitely seemed like there was something more going on outside of just alcohol. That was always the impression that I got with Kim. I feel bad for Kim sending her love and light. Okay, Danielle, stop. Love and light. Hope Kim gets all the help she needs. I hope so too. I hate to say this, but I don't think it's gonna end well. I just don't. I just don't think she's in a healthy place. I don't think she wants to help herself at this point. I was shocked to learn she's only 60. I thought Kim was older than that. My grandmother, who passed away in 2021. Wow, I can't believe it's been 3 years. 3, yeah. 2022, 23, 20, yeah, 3 going on 4 years. Wow, that was fast. Um, she passed away when she was 69, and I would have thought Kim Richards was definitely older than her. Kim does not look 60. Is she still using? She's fallen off the wagon. Uh, so it appears she's no longer sober. I don't know what falling off the wagon means for Kim. I don't know if that's just alcohol. I would imagine that there's more going on than just alcohol. I do feel bad for her though. I don't know what happens from here. Izzy B said, "My understanding was Kim was supposed to get the house when their mother passed away, but Kyle stepped in and took the home. Don't know, but that's the rumor." Um, yes, we've covered this in depth with Kim's goddamn house. Well, that's not the house that she's currently staying in. Let's be clear. The house that she's currently staying in is a separate property that Kyle owns. But I wonder if it's the house that Sutton was living in. Remember that one? It was on the house on Beverly Hills, on Real Houses of Beverly Hills. Remember Sutton was renting it for a while? I wonder if that's the house that Kim's currently staying in, Kyle's old house. But um, with the goddamn house that Kyle stole. So that was remember that was a good story. Thank you for bringing this up. So remember when we read House of Hilton and we found Big Kathy, and Big Kathy was the mom, and she was all sorts of, wackadoodle herself. And there are all these alleged stories in House of Hilton about how she was sort of pimping the girls out when they were younger, and she definitely seemed to be a bit of a gold digger, which is not the way that we were sold of Big Kathy when Alicia Silverstone was playing her in American Woman, the show on Paramount that Kyle was producing. But so with Big Kathy, so she had, I believe, two other husbands. What was the third husband's name? God, it's been so long. Bob. Was that his name? Bob? I think that was the husband's name. She moved to Palm Desert and she bought this house. And she met Bob. And Bob, I'm hoping that's his name. I may be wrong, but I'm going purely off of memory here. But so she wasn't really having much luck with finding a new sugar daddy out here in Los Angeles. So she ends up going out to Palm Desert and to Palm Springs. And so she gets a house out there, fairly modest house, nice, but still fairly modest. And she left Kyle and Kim's dad. So Kyle and Kim have a separate dad from Kathy's. Kathy was like a backseat, a backseat bang, and it was a bad guy from the wrong side of the track. So we didn't really ever get to see what happened with him. And I don't think Kathy ever really got to know him. But then they met Ken Richards, who's Kyle and Kim's dad. And so she was with him for a while, and then that didn't work out. And then there are stories about like he was dating this other woman, and like Big Kathy attacked her in the parking lot. Like she was like following them, and then she ended up going and like spiking her drink at the bar. And then as the woman was walking out to her car, Kathy went and like got in a fight with her, and then slammed her ankle into the car door. Her like ankle was there and she like slammed it and broke it with the car door. Crazy. Just like all sorts of crazy stuff. Like Big Kathy was ruthless and toothless. She was wild. But so anyway, getting back to the goddamn house. Big Kathy ends up leaving LA, going to Palm Springs, buying the goddamn house. And while she's there, she's looking for another man. She finds this guy, Bob. She thought that Bob had money, but it doesn't seem that Bob really had a whole bunch of money. So she was just like, you know what? Screw it. It is what it is. I got this dude, like whatever. She decides to make it work with Bob. But since Bob didn't really have money, what she ended up having Bob do was sell his house. She's like, you know what? Sell my house. Like we're in love now. Sell your house. Come live in my house. And then we'll use the money that you get from the sale of your house to fix up my house. And then we'll just both live here. And he was like, okay, I love you. Let's do it. Right. So he ends up selling his house to then renovate the goddamn house that Big Kathy owned. So they do the whole renovation of the goddamn house. And then she ends up getting sick and she passes away. And then we find out that in the will, Bob isn't allowed to live in the goddamn house. Like Bob's name is not on the goddamn house. Like there's nothing that Bob is entitled to with the goddamn house. So Kathy made him sell his house in order to renovate her house. And then she booted him out of the house because, well, I guess in the will, he was only allowed to live there for a year. And he was only allowed to live there if he never brought a woman into the goddamn house. So he had a year to figure his shit out. He at least had a place to stay for the next year. And Kim Richards was the one that was in charge of going over and monitoring and making sure that Bob didn't have any hoes up in the house. And so Kim Richards would go and check up on Bob and make sure that he didn't have any hoes in the closet. And so yeah, and then ultimately the house was left in the names of the three girls, Kathy, Kyle, and Kim. So they owned the goddamn house, not Bob. So after that full year, Kim kicked out Bob, and then Bob had to, I don't know what Bob ended up doing, to be honest with you. I think he had to like take advantage of some like veteran services or something. And so, yeah, she never put Bob's name on the deed, which was awful. He lost his damn house. So if anything, they still Bob's goddamn house. Or but like justice for Bob. He's dead now, but like justice for Bob, you know? Learn from Big Kathy, girls. That's how you do it. Poor Bob. I think Bob really did love her. The photos of Kim and Rick James are really scary looking back. But so yeah, so the house was in the three girls' names, and it appears Kathy didn't really want anything to do with anything. So Kyle and Mauricio, I think, were the two that were kind of at least overseeing the house and like making sure the house was kept up. We see the goddamn house in, I think, season 1 of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And so I guess there was some point where Kim needed to borrow some money. So she made an agreement. So Kim says that she was under the impression that she was just borrowing the money, but that she could put the money back at some point. And Kyle was like, well, no, when you took the money out, you signed over your portion of the house. Therefore, I got the goddamn house. You signed your rights over to the house. And Kim's like, that's not what I remember. I don't remember signing the rights over to the house. I think I was just temporarily taking money out of the house and I didn't realize. I think it was only like 20,000. So long story short, I believe they ended up selling Kyle ended up selling the goddamn house. And so that's why Kim was upset about the goddamn house, is because Kim's like, that was my house. It was supposed to be my house, when in reality, it wasn't supposed to be Kim's house. It was the house that was divided amongst all three of them. So yeah. But listen, when it comes to the goddamn house and Kim Richards and Bob and all of it, like that house just doesn't seem like it has good juju. I don't trust it. I don't want to go in the goddamn house. I'm good. But now we have Kim who's in Kyle's goddamn house, and Kim doesn't want to leave this new goddamn house. And I don't know. I don't know. But she's not doing well. And every update we get on, I hate to say this, and I hope this is not, oh God, I don't want to speak it into existence, but remember how we talk about like who's going to be the first housewife to go? I just think the odds are not in Kim's favor. She does not appear to be doing well. And that's going to be heartbreaking if and when that day does come. That's going to be heartbreaking because I feel like with Kyle, like I just think she carries so much guilt with Kim and taking care of Kim and like having to take care of Kim. Should we all go watch Witch Mountain so she can get some residuals? Do you think she still gets residual? I mean, she must, but like who's watching Witch Mountain enough for her to get enough residuals? Like that's why Kyle and Mauricio have always had to take care of Kim. Joe says, I would not want to live in these goddamn houses. I just want to live in God blessed houses. Exactly. Marianne says, but Kyle paid for the maintenance and the taxes. Legally, Kim forfeited her portion. Yeah. And that's what Kyle tried to explain to her. She's like, I'm the one that takes care of this house. Mo and I are the ones that keep up the maintenance on this house. And they sold it to, I think, end up getting another nicer property in Palm Desert. Don't put it into the universe. I didn't mean to. It's just that's what the angels are telling me. You know, I'm getting messages from the other side. I'm like, Tyler Henry. Like, hold on. Wait a minute. I have a message. Oh no. Oh no. That was my Tyler Henry impression. Okay. What else? Dorit and PK. Let's talk about Dorit and PK. So Dorit was just spotted by TMZ at the airport, and she was on a very long walk outside of the airport to find her car. It's a very long walk. And they're talking to her and they're like, how are you and PK? And she's like, we are where we are. We're prioritizing our kids. And they're like, do you see, you guys reconciling in the new year? And she's like, we're not there. I don't think we're in a place where we're ready to reconcile. Right now, our priority is just the kids. Zach, you have to have a sit down with Kim Richards. I would literally love that. I would love that. Do you like Tyler Henry, Zach? From what I know of him, yeah, he seems like a nice person. But yeah, so Dorit says that they're not in a place to make up, but she is looking forward. She's hopeful to be able to make forward with Kyle. She's like, I'm done. If Kyle and I want to, both be on the same page where we let bygones be bygones, she says that she would like to move forward with Kyle and get to a good place. They also try to ask her about Mauricio and his new girlfriend because he's been seen with all these girls in Aspen, all these younger girls, all these influencers. And she's just like, listen, if that were PK doing that, I wouldn't feel comfortable. I wouldn't feel good. Like it would be really tough. And so it seems like she's in a place where she just wants to have some sort of healing and mending with Kyle. So that way they're not in this tumultuous place anymore. But then PK was just on the Hot Mic podcast with Alex Baskin. And PK was saying he regrets doing the show now in retrospect because he's like, I'm not with the love of my life. He said that he was really upset that Dorit called him a full blown alcoholic on the show because I guess he doesn't believe that he's a full blown alcoholic. Maybe he's a half blown alcoholic. I don't really know. I don't really know who's blowing him these days, but he doesn't think he's a full blown alcoholic. But he's cutting back and not drinking anymore. And he's, I believe, now fully sober. So it seemed like people were giving Dorit a hard time for that, about, like, outing him as a full-blown alcoholic, and her defense was like, "Well, he's talked about it. He's openly, shared that he's an alcoholic." But now it's kind of like, I don't know. Interesting. Marianne said, "Did you see Alex Baskin interview Mo and PK?" Marianne, where you at, girl? That's what we're talking about. Mary Catherine says, "Oh my God, I never make your lives and listen every day on Apple Podcasts, and you pop up while I'm on the elliptical. I freaking love you and your show." Thank you, Mary Catherine Soulsby. Joe said, "How does one qualify how much blown of an alcoholic someone is? I thought it'd be more binary." I don't know about what his pronouns are, Joe. So ask somebody else. He did get a DUI. Oh, that's right. He did get a DUI. Ted says alcoholics always say that they're not alcoholics. Yeah. Well, that's why I own it. I'm like, yeah, I love to drink. So there you go. You own it, baby. Own it. Like Lisa Rinna would say, own it, baby. Own it. Okay, we talked about Blake and Justin Baldoni. We talked about Kim Richards. We talked about Dorit and PK. Let's talk about Kim Kardashian. Not that you guys care, and I feel like some of you may be like, "Oh, you're gonna roll your eyes," but it's interesting. So there was this really strange, and I will tell you, very strange. I don't even. Do I want to play a clip of it? I didn't load it up to play a clip of it, but it's this video that now appears to be a music video for her new Santa Baby cover that she's done. And there's this so it's like this old school, I would say maybe 90s is what I would guess was supposed to be like the timeline for this. Maybe late 80s and early 90s-ish. Definitely, I wouldn't guess 2000s just because of the quality of the camera. Well, I guess they had a camcorder. I don't know. What if any of you saw it, I don't know what era we would think that that was from. Probably the 90s because Macaulay Culkin's in it. He makes a cameo at the end. But so it's this really strange, and it looks like a fever dream. And it's so in the background, you hear Santa Baby playing. And so that's actually the cover. I don't know if you remember last year, maybe even the year before, the Kardashians were on Hulu. The Kardashians were doing a Christmas album as a family. The Christmas album, I don't believe ever came out. I think they did, yeah, because Kris Jenner did like a song that Travis Barker from Blink 182, who's Kourtney Kardashian's husband, he produced that. And so I guess they were going to do a Christmas album, and then eventually the Christmas album never came to fruition. But it looks like he ended up using Kim Kardashian's Santa Baby cover that was supposed to be part of that Christmas album. And so they released that this year. And so it's really just her. She's like, Santa Baby, hurry down, Sherry tonight. Like it's like very like trying too hard to be Marilyn Monroe, but like not fully executed, right? And so the music video is her, and she looks just like totally dazed and confused. And she's in her skims. She has this like porn star blonde wig on, and she's crawling around the floor. And it's just like this old school. I would say based off of the house, I would guess that this was maybe set to take place in the 80s. So let me share a clip of it for you. It's her. This is what she posted. And so it's her crawling around. Yeah, this looks very 80s. Yeah, we have the landlines. And it's her, and she's just kind of drugged out. and she's kind of just like crawling around the floor, and her Santa baby rendition is playing in the background. And then all throughout it, you have all these like really like weird, strange, like you can just tell she's like supposed to be like completely out of it. I wonder if she's supposed to be like emulating like an out, like a totally substance out Marilyn Monroe, but we're going through the house, right? And she's crawling through the house, and we're seeing all these different themes of, people playing games, and we have a cheerleader, and then we have a donkey with Mary for, the giving birth to Jesus in Bethlehem. And Kim's just like crawling on the floor, and she's just kind of out of it. And it's filmed on this really old school style camera. We see a guy dressed up as Jesus, and he's in the refrigerator, and you see, two grown dudes fighting in the background, and the house is a mess, and you see like everyone's just kind of like not present and not all there. You see this old man, and he's counting all this money, and he's counting all, these dollar bills that he has. Um, yeah, it's just really bizarre. We also see like a nativity scene, um, a train, like a choo-choo train, and it's just kind of strange. And we're just going through the house, and through all the different, we see Kim crawling through the house all the way through. And then finally, by the end of it, she reaches the end, and you see her look up, and it's Santa Claus, and he's filming her, and we find out that Santa Claus is none other than Macaulay Culkin. And that's how the video ends. And so it looks like this is the music video that's promoting her Santa Baby cover. But everyone was like, this is really weird. It comes across kind of demonic and satanic, and it seems like some like creepy ritual. The video is very bizarre and creepy. And I think it was meant to be this like avant-garde, artsy, piece to make you think. And after the initial, most people are like, I didn't even watch the full thing. I watched the first few minutes and I tuned out. Not interested. Don't care. It's produced by Travis Barker. So Kourtney Kardashian posted some photos of herself, nothing to do with the music video, but photos of herself dressed up as Santa Claus and celebrating Christmas with Travis Barker. And she put that song, the Santa Baby, the Kim Kardashian one, over it. But it's strange. Val Porter said that looks like 90s Stone Temple Pilots video with de-induced hallucinations personified. Yeah, it looks very hallucination-y. It looks very fever dream-y. At one point you see a nun, and she's just saying, he's not a man of God. He's not a man of God. He's not a man of God. And so you do kind of see like, we see the Jesus with the crown of thorns, and we see Mary with the donkey. And so you see some of these themes that reference like the biblical story of the birth of Jesus, which, whatever. But so it was interesting. There was an article in the Daily Mail that was actually written by my friend Jacques, and he took some fan theories. And because I guess some people were saying, oh, we think that this is actually Kim Kardashian, she's very Christian, and we think that this is some sort of that she was subtly adding some sort of Christian undertone to it. And I guess the message that some fans have put together is this is supposed to show you what Christmas has become, and that Christmas has actually deviated away from the birth of Christ, and instead it now appears to be, this holiday that's about, buying gifts and money and, zoning out because you're drinking and you're doing all these things. And it's just like it's an American modernized version of what Christmas has become. And most Americans are just zoned out, and they're asleep, and they've gotten into the commercialization of what Christmas has become. And so they're forgetting. And that's why. And so the song is called Santa Baby, and it's about getting Santa's attention. And then you have the nun on the floor, and she's saying he's not a man of God. He's not a man of God. And then by the time Kim gets to Santa, he has the video camera. And so they're saying, oh, it's like Santa's watching you because he knows when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake. And so Santa knows all the sinners, and he attracts all the sinners, and he knows all your secrets, and he's watching you always. And I don't know, it was a bit of a stretch, but I was like, well, it does kind of at least add a different layer of what this creepy, weird fucking video is. Not only take a seat, girl. I mean, listen, I don't know. That seems deep for her. Well, she didn't produce it. She just they have these 2 other, directors that were the ones that kind of put this whole thing together, and she just, is the one that they chose to focus on. Kim Kardashian and her thong on her acid trip house is not bringing anyone back to Jesus. That's what I thought, Michelle, because I was like, okay, like, yes, this theory does make sense, and they point out these subtle nods, and you see, like, the old man counting all his money, and then you see there's another scene of somebody, and they're vacuuming up the floor, and they're just vacuuming up all these dollars, and so it's like, yeah, okay, we're all about money, we're prioritized on things that are no longer what Christmas is meant to be about. Like, okay, I can kind of see it from that lens. Macaulay Culkin, he's a nod back to Home Alone, and he's classic Christmas, but like Santa, and Santa's evil, and Santa's attracting all the sinners. And that's why Kim Kardashian, she's like zoned out. She doesn't know where to go, but she's going to Santa versus going to Jesus. And like, okay, I get it. I get it, right? If I tilt my head and squint my eyes, okay, sure. I get it if they're trying to go for like that artsy thing, but I'm like, I don't think that this is like, people have to really think really hard about it. And I don't think people are getting the message if that is the intention. And like, it was just weird, you know? Karma Camille says, I think she's advertising for Skims. She crawled along the floor wearing her own brand with tangled. Yeah. Yeah. It was obvious that she was promoting Skims because she was wearing Skims, and like they made it very clear in some of the shots, but it was to promote her Santa Baby um, cover that she did, which is not that good, to be honest with you. Like overall, it's just strange, right? That's the best way to describe it, though, is Kim in her acid trip Christmas house. It just, it was weird, but I think it was more like to get people talking, and like, because remember when she did like the paper magazine, the Break the Internet cover, and it was like her butt, and she was popping champagne, and the champagne was like coming out and going into the martini glass that was on her butt. And so I think she was trying to have another Break the Internet viral moment. If this was so crazy and so avant-garde and so like strange that it just got people talking. And like, yes, it did. Like, sure, like we kind of are talking about it, but at the same time, like, but, like, we're talking about it in a way that's, like, we're over it, Like, it's not appealing to us anymore, and I feel like this is like, nobody's really talking about the Kardashians as much anymore, so this was definitely a way to absolutely garner the attention rather than just another basic Skims campaign with Tom Brady or whatever, right? They were doing or, like, Sabrina Carpenter, they were doing all of those things, but, like, nobody was really talking about the Kardashians. They didn't do their big Christmas party, they're keeping things a little more low key, so it just feels, which is also interesting considering there's, like, these rumors about their financials, and, like, then they decide not to do the big Christmas party this year because they wanted to do something more low key. I don't know. I honestly don't know. Michelle says it's a trying too hard moment. It was definitely trying way too hard. Way too hard. Val says, I think that this video missed the mark. Art House is a sketch if you have to really work at understanding it. Yeah. Art House is a stretch if you have to really work at understand. Yeah. And I think that's what it is. Like, I think it was meant to garner attention. I think they sold her on that idea of like, yeah, we're gonna do this, and the meaning behind it is about Christmas and how Christmas has lost its way away from Jesus, but it's gonna be controversial, and it's gonna make people talk about it, and it's gonna, you know, nobody knows what it means, but it's provocative. I think it was supposed to they sold her on it with that, and that's probably also why they hooked in Macaulay Culkin. But I just think it missed the mark and it fell flat. And people were just so many people were like, "What are you doing? Like, you have kids?" Let me pull up some of the comments. Because it was not well received. I don't know anybody that was like, "Ooh, love it. Slay queen." Like, that was just not wow. I mean, it definitely got people talking because no. It only got 106 or sorry, it got 609,000 likes. So 600,000 likes and 54,000 comments. Whereas it definitely got a lot of comments, but it didn't get a lot of likes. Whereas her last like cute Christmas selfie that she posted got 1.9 million likes. 1.4 million likes. So yeah, it seems like when she posts content with her in it, it always gets over a million likes. Um, or around a million. But this one barely broke 600,000. And I don't know, it was just creepy. Um Khloe Kardashian commented, she said, "Come on, Santa." But then other people are like, "Am I the only one getting demonic vibes? Girl, what the F is this? I think I just watched Kim crawl through a crack house. The cringe that stole Christmas. Satan made this. Just because you can doesn't mean you should." I agree with that one from the retired millennial. What the F did I just watch? Merrick says, "Did I just do acid?" Pop up picnic NYC said, this is weird button. I thought you were Christian, Kim, and this video is blasphemous. Shake my head. I'm so confused. Kim, what are you doing? I'm a really weird bitch, but I'm trying to find the art in this, and I am grasping. Dear Lord, I break all the curses on these viewers. Anyone who thinks this is art is deranged. This is the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Are you crawling through a crack house? What in the acid trip hell? That's my savior you're mocking. And she says that Kanye is the problem. I lost every last brain cells trying to watch this. Wow, that was weird. Demonic. Unfollow. Kim Kardashian is showing us what her life really is. Demonic. Unfollowed. Are y'all even hiding it anymore? Is Skims not selling? You can create art without disrespecting someone's religious beliefs. Mocking Mother Mary for the sake of content is not it. Bro, you're like 40 years old and a billionaire. Go take care of your kids. You don't need to do this. If ketamine and Satan had a baby, blasphemy. This is horrible. This ain't gonna go up. This ain't gonna up your followers. Trust me. This video made me feel a whole new level of uncomfortable. What the F? Okay, so to a lot of people, it looks like she's just cracked out on the floor, showing us her thong crawling between Santa Guy's lap. But I guess the real message is she's trying to show the true religious meaning of the holiday, assuming it's not about Santa, but everyone goes to Santa during the holidays. Yeah. Oh, because she's walking past Mary and she's walking past Jesus in the fridge and she's walking past the nun that's saying, "He's not a man of faith. He's not a man of faith." Okay. I mean, we're really having to like scratch our head and do this. If ketamine and sand had a baby. You guys like that one. This is a message. There's some high up people in the world and they're seeing this and they know exactly what this means. Very demonic and blasphemous. Wish I didn't watch. Tell us you're satanic without telling us you are satanic. Selling a piece of your soul to keep fame going. Blasphemy. But they spelled blasphemy wrong. Demonic filth. This is sick and blasphemous. The fact a Satanist is the creator of this video says it all. Girl, bye. This is stupid, not creative, not entertaining, disturbing. If only the entire family was cast in this. It's literally right in front of our faces, and y'all are still minimizing the demonic intentions behind these celebrities mocking Christianity. This made me cringe. Is she on heroin? I'm tired of celebrities disrespecting Christianity. The interesting thing is, I do agree that it is very demonic and it does feel like they're mocking the Christian faith, but at the same time, they are very like about Jesus, you know? Like they remember they went to Armenia and they got baptized. All of Kim's kids are baptized. So like they do I mean, they have churches, but the churches are something else, and then the churches maybe like trying to avoid some taxes. But it's just, can you say the letter Enya? I think I just said it. To be fair, religion should never be respect. Well, that's not nice. Joe says, after hearing all of this, and sounds like Kim K is still winning. We may be hating on this, but guess what? She's still getting a bunch of social media engagement and getting Skims mentions. Yes, but and the word of the day is blasphemous. Yes, I agree with you, Joe. But at the same time, I think that this is a shift in the tide. Yes, we're still seeing the engagement, but the engagement is no longer positive. And yes, they've always come with backlash and faced criticism, but I think this is a real sign that like people are so fatigued with them. And I think she's definitely like, I think this is the start of the end of the Kardashians. Not just this video specifically, but I think this video is very reflective, or at least the reaction from the video is very reflective of where we're at in terms of how much we want to continue to idolize people and celebrities, Kardashians being them, or even Beyonce. Beyonce had her halftime show, and a lot of people were not feeling it. A lot of people were, but a lot of people like, I don't think people are as enamored with celebrity culture as we used to be. We've been done with them for decades. Yes, but I think maybe you have, but I think culturally everybody's now reaching that same place, right? We're all kind of collectively getting to that point of like, all right, we're fucking sick of this shit. And we're fucking sick of you guys. The tides are starting to change 100%. Yes, Storm, I agree. Danny says it's another nail in the coffin. Yeah, I don't think it's the final nail in the coffin, but it's at least now starting to reflect how people really are feeling about them. And I think like they're gonna lose, the audience. But I also think if anything, this tells you she doesn't know what to do anymore in order to garner attention. Like nothing else that she's done, her prison reform, becoming a billionaire with Skims, all of that stuff. Like it's not like people are just they're over it, and she doesn't know what to do to stay relevant. So if she's resorting to something like this to stay relevant and to get people, and she has to thrive off of the negative comments. mm, was there Super Bowl this weekend? I didn't realize that. Was it what was the halftime show? Did we always have a Christmas halftime show? I don't- Yeah, but with Beyonce, a lot of that is based on racism. Okay, we're not doing that anymore. Okay, got it. Mary says we need new celebrities. Um, I don't know. I think the shift is changing, right? It's giving desperate. It is giving desperate. Parmesan Tree says she never has always relied on others for guidance. Maybe, but whoever she has guiding her ain't doing it right. It got people talking, but I don't know. Sarah says might have to do with people like you doing podcasts are more of a celebrity. Might have to do with people like you doing podcasts are more a celebrity. Well, I wouldn't say that us podcasters are the new celebrities, but I think people resonate with us more than they resonate with celebrities, right? I just think people are connecting with people online in this way because there's more of a natural connection. There's more of a natural like it's not well, I mean, I can only speak for myself. I'm not fake and I don't come on here and say, you know, it's easy for you to laugh and say that because you don't have to deal with racism. Shake my head. You're right. I've never experienced racism in my life. Um I'm not entertaining that anymore. Listen, I have fallen out of too many coconut trees than to entertain these silly arguments anymore. Storm says celebrities with talent or they contribute to the betterment of society. Yeah. And I also think like people crave authenticity or they crave, a refreshing sort of I mean, yeah, I think authenticity is it, right? And celebrities just can't be themselves authentically anymore because they're just in a bubble that's not in relation to the world, right? It's not. That's why it's like people don't care about celebrities' political endorsements anymore because people are like, you don't understand my life. You think I'm going to take, your advice, Taylor Swift? You think I just fell out of a coconut tree? No, thank you or Oprah's endorsement. People want somebody that feels more real. And so I think that's why people connect with people online, on Instagram, or in this case, in podcasts or, wherever it may be. Laura says that I'm an ally for the senior species, regardless of race. Thank you, Laura. And the straight people, don't forget. Marianne says people want truth sayers, not people who are looking for fame and money. I guess. People crave true artistry and inspiration. The Kardashians are neither. Yeah, I just think they've lost the pulse of culture. And pop culture is shifting. So Marshawn says, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying the issue with the country and her being a black woman, it's a real conversation. So don't act like it's a joke. You really think people just don't like Beyonce because everybody's just racist? Got it. Joe, like I got the message, Marshawn, we're all racist. If we don't like Beyonce, it's because you're judging her because you're a racist. Got it. Message. Hold on, let me write that down so I don't forget it. I am racist because I think Beyonce is overhyped. Okay, got it. I wrote that down. I'll be sure to study it tonight. Okay. All right, I think that's all I have for you guys. Not a bandwagon jumper. Yeah, people don't like bandwagon jumper. Zack is also an ally for the two spirits and the multi. Listen, that's where I stop at the spirits. Unless it's alcohol, I can't go as far as supporting the two spirits, Joe. I'm sorry. That's where I draw the line. You and all your spirits Go find an exorcist. Demons be gone. I ain't doing the spirits. Two things I don't do are the spirits and the pronouns. Sorry. Thank you. Next. Why are you guys laughing? Marianne Stout says Zack, who is Latino, is racist. Yeah, I wrote it down right here. It's right here. I wrote it down so I don't forget it. I'm racist. Let me write it down again. You are extra racist. I'm kidding. The way I just fell to the floor. Are you okay? Why are you falling to the floor? Did you just fall out of a coconut tree, Michelle? Why did you fall to the floor? Marshawn, I said a lot of backlash with Beyonce is based in racism. I know, my love. We heard you. The point made. I got it. You want me to write that down too? A lot of the backlash Beyonce has received is based in racism. Got it. Okay. Good looking and racist. Listen, we've dissected that so much. I'm not making fun of racism. I'm making fun of how people have weaponized it and diluted that term so much. And it's unfortunate because racism is real and I'm not trying to diminish it, but it's ridiculous how much we've turned everything into that. Like any little, like you can't dislike Beyonce or think her music is this or that because it's immediately inherently, it must be racism. And I'm just like, I'm not playing that game anymore. Inem says podcasters aren't automatically celebrities, but some podcasters are gaining that status. However, podcasters are holding celebrities accountable for their actions, which wasn't a thing years ago. I agree. I love holding people accountable, myself included. See, I'm racist. I wrote it down. JK. I'm a native Houstonian, and Beyonce is an a-hole. Well, clearly you're racist too. Parmesan. Oh, well, the live chat is popping. Storm says, bring back Destiny's Child with all the members. Okay, I'm down for Destiny's Child. Can I revoke my racism card if I say I'm a fan of Destiny's Child? I do like Destiny's Child, right? Lose my breath, make me lose my breath. I do love Destiny's Child. That I will give it. Bills. Give me all the Destiny's Child. That was Beyonce's peak era, is when it was the three of them. And then now we're going to twist it and watch. Now I'm going to be called anti-woman because I can't just like one woman. I have to like, all three of them because one is not enough. I've been called all the names in the book. Beyonce is not country and nobody should be forced to say this. She is. I mean, Cowboy Carter was not a good album. Beyonce's had good music. That wasn't it though. But I'm with Storm. I'm absolutely here for a Destiny's Child comeback. Destiny's Child and NSYNC. Justin Timberlake on his own in his flop era. Beyonce on her own, don't really feel her anymore, right? I didn't care about the Alien Superstar and I don't care about the Cowboy Carter. I just jump in. Baby, leave your man at home. Or they're Say My Name, right? Say my name when no one is around you. Say, baby, I love you. If you ain't running games, then you're racist. Yes, you are a racist. If you don't love Beyonce, jump in. Fellas, leave your ladies at home. Joe says, I don't know about NSYNC. Some of them need to get it together. JC needs to get his sexy mojo hard. Yeah. Have you seen 98 Degrees? The videos of 98 Degrees. Not all there. Jen says Timberlake is in his flaccid era. That's funny. I mean, I wouldn't even say it was flaccid. I would say it's just rolled back up in there. We don't even see it anymore. He had transition surgery and we didn't even know about it. Laura said, when does this video come out? What video? I'm more Backstreet Boy. Ooh, I do love some Backstreet Boys. They're still around. They're still touring. Okay. All right. Now we're just rambling. Okay. Thank you guys. I love you guys. Go support Beyonce or else you're racist. But give me a follow, Just Been Zack, if you want to keep up with me. Follow the podcast at No Filter with Zack on Instagram. Doing a lot of coverage of Blake and Baldoni. So if you want to go check that out, go and check it out. Oh, Stormdora says Justin had his winter penis. Look it up. It must have been very cold. Vanilla. Okay. Vanilla ice is a stretch. Okay. All we really know vanilla ice for is ice, ice, baby. Ice, ice, baby. All right. That said, thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. Give me a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. If you've been enjoying this and you're listening on Apple, all those reviews really do help. You can also drop a comment below, hit the like button on your way out on YouTube. Marianne Stout says she's snuggling in her Zack Pack hoodie. Yes, guys, if you want to get merch, the link is in the description below. Definitely stock up on your merch. And yeah, hope you guys had a great Christmas. Happy Kwanzaa, happy Hanukkah, happy Box Day. If you celebrate Box Day, go get some boxes. All right. Ciao for now. Bye, guys.